Right. Lead me not into temptation, for I shall find it myself. Uh, don't all adolescents do this? They have their experiences, they rebel, and they're tempted. This book, First Impressions, a story of Adam and Eve and their choices. But of the tree of knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day that thou eatest thereof thou shalt surely die. So this is from the book of Genesis, and it reminds me of man's fall from grace, Adam and Eve, from the Garden of Eden. I mean, Edward's already a vampire; he's no longer human, i.e., no longer part of the Garden of Eden. Will Bella make the decision to go out with him? Will she make that choice, like from eating of the tree of knowledge? Will she fall from grace? Will she later want to become a vampire to be together with him forever? Who knows? You have to read the book. Also, what came to mind is Beauty and the Beast. Bella being Beauty, her name even says so, Bella Swan, and the Beast, Edward, even describes himself as, I don't want to be a monster. Right, the insights that I acquired in the class discussion, impressions on first love. Well, adolescents do have an ideal picture of first love, and yet when they experience it, the reality sinks in. So does this book reflect this reality? In one sense, no, because vampires don't exist. In another sense, yes, because Bella's experience of it is described, as realistic. Even Edward's character can be sort of translated to maybe somebody who's dangerous, a bad boy, hangs out in the wrong crowd, a gangster type, mafia type. And then they struggle with the fact of, do I go out with him? She struggles with, do I go out with him? And he struggles with, do I actually meet her because I'm dangerous? This could be real. This could be real. Is this true love a bit obsessive? I'd say yes. I mean, Bella says it makes me anxious to be away from you. However, isn't first love obsessive a little bit? Mine was. The world as a darker place. Yes, it is. I mean, she does meet a vampire. She gets into a dangerous situation. She nearly dies. So, yes, she does experience that. Could it be real? Yes, maybe your boyfriend can lead you down darker ways, or even the girlfriend, The divided self. Yes, definitely in the book you can see that Bella feels alienated, that nobody understands her. She says, I didn't relate well to people of my age. She also, there's also this view of adolescents go through this self-view, and then they keep on thinking they have an imaginary audience and thinking how other people view them. And Edward, because he can read minds, he can tell Bella that it really isn't as how you see yourself. He even says to her, don't be so self-conscious, don't lovers want to do that for each other. I mean, override, let each other know that, it's not how you think you are really. You think better of yourself. I love you no matter, So that's realistic. She also, before she arrives, she goes through this sort of mirror thing, where she talks about she being the new girl from a big city, a curiosity, a freak. That's how she sees herself. Whether it's really the case, I doubt it. Or at least Edward says no. Another topic is, can we identify with her? Well, when I first picked up this book, I thought, oh no, a teenage book, And then, for some reason, I don't know why, I could identify with her. Why is that? Well, I think it's because she calls herself ordinary. She says, I'm absolutely ordinary. Don't we all really want to feel accepted? She can make fun of herself. She says, which is, amiable. She says, I made the cowardly lion look like the Terminator. Well, aren't we all a bit afraid? And don't we all have to dare to be ourselves, She was clumsy as well, always getting, accident prone, stuff like this. So she's very likable. And because she describes herself as ordinary, she's not really, we can relate to her. Another thing is, yes, we see it all through her eyes, and in fact, she's responsible. right? She takes over the role of her mom and says, "Look, Mom, I'm gonna go away. You take care of yourself, and look, Dad, I'm gonna cook dinner." So she's responsible, makes her likable. Her voice in her head, the voice that we follow, is realistic. The choices that she makes could be. The reader, as a thinker, well, I have to say that there are some, you could take things at a face value and read it like, I don't know, like a story, just to follow the plot. However, I find people can learn from Edward because, for instance, in the woods where it's all magical, he actually tells her some things that have got a few deeper layers, like the fact that this. Well, first of all, let me just go recap. The fact that in this chapter they tell each other how they've really experienced each other creates understanding. So we see it from Bella's eyes, and then we hear Edward's version of it. And don't love relationships do this for each other? They create understanding. Edward, wow, Edward's some sort of, he's my hero, he says, isn't it mind over matter? I mean, just because we've been dealt a certain hand, it doesn't mean we can't choose to rise above. I mean, isn't that something deep? Because in life, doesn't life deal us a set of cards and then we have to deal with it? And can we not rise above our basic emotions, like maybe fear or anger or hurt? Can't we just rise above that and not react and act instead? Thought process. So actually, that reminded me a bit of Stephen Covey. And he also says he deals with, I want you to be safe, yet I want to be with you. And don't we all sort of deal with that, or at least I have, gone out with somebody and I thought, oh, I'm not good for you, but yet I love you, type of thing. I don't know if that's actually good, but okay. And he also says, well, I had my typical bout of rebellious adolescence. Was this coming from somebody young who's older? And maybe this might enlighten kids that yes, they are rebellious, and yes, it is okay. He also said, and I don't know whether I agree with him, he says, I was complete I was complete in myself, and then he lacked love. Well, I don't know, did he lack a partner? I think that you ought to be complete in yourself. Maybe you got to first grow and learn, and then you can reflect it in the other, and if you haven't learned much, maybe there's not so much, there's too much projection and not so much reflection. And yes, age suitability, well, both. I think that there's a hero and a heroine, and yes, we can relate to it. There's harmony, disharmony, and then harmony is restored in the end because she survives, he doesn't kill her, their love is strong enough. Young kids can take it at face value and get certain things out of it, about first love and maybe adolescence. And the adolescents there's not so much of a deeper layer. I'd have to say that Edward does touch upon this a little bit. And they could read it as a gothic horror. I don't know. You can relate to it as a certain growth process of adolescence. Yes, you can reflect on the inside and outside worlds and reality that way. I would say it was for both age categories, young and older adolescents. Did I like the book in the end? Yes, I did, actually. It was an easy read, and actually looking into it, I thought, oh, there's a bit more to it than just a light read, and a little bit of a vampire book. And so I recommend it, and enjoy. Thank you.